Do you want to do a podcast? We make a darn good team. It always goes without a hitch. Let's head to Twitch and go start up the stream. Do you want to do a podcast? It's the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Let's start now.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Come? Alright, I'll do my own bits myself. Oh wait, no silence! We're doing it! Get off the road!
Dave,
Yes, Butter.
why is it really hard to tell a joke to a stormtrooper?
I don't know, Butter. Why is it hard to tell a joke to a stormtrooper?
Because they always miss the punchline.
BAM!
Hi everybody and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. I'm Boater.
I'm Dave, man.
If you saw my Instagram story about 20 minutes ago, things got exciting. I didn't know that this mall has spooky things happening to it. I was recording saying, hey, here's what we got coming up on the Nerd Glasses Podcast as Dave was pulling me down the hallway. And the power went out. So fortunately, we're back, and our internet is back as opposed to last week. So we are ready to bring you all sorts of cool, awesome gaming news. Dave, how do you want to get started tonight?
Well, firstly, congratulations to everyone. Insane Games TV, as of press time, has 601 followers and almost 10,500 channel views. And you guys are going to help us push to the next 1,000. Both followers and views. So thank you guys and congratulations. Let's see. Let's stick with the games that are coming out.
Games that are coming out and whatever other regular features we got. So Dave,
yeah.
what games are coming out in the next 7 days?
Well, for the next 7 days, you can look forward to no less than a couple of pretty good ones, and a
No
couple
fewer.
of bad ones. Before I forget, now that I'm looking at it right in front of me, remember how last week we talked about Mario Kart Live Home Circuit?
Yes.
Remember how you couldn't pre-order it anywhere?
Yes.
You know how I went to every single electronics store on Friday, and you know what they didn't have? A single one?
Yes.
Yep. Way to go, Nintendo, launching a product and then not being able to support the... Just... No!
Yeah, well, I mean, are you surprised? A thing comes out that people want and it's by Nintendo, nobody's going to be able to get it at launch. This is how it goes, Dave, at least since the Wii.
I'm very sad about it, just on the auspice of I would have bought that. If
Yeah.
you guys could get a Ghost into Insane Games, that would be perfecto. If you tune in on the Weekend Wednesday tomorrow, we will be conjuring the spirits, we will be provoking them, and we will be documenting them in Phantasmophobia, by the way, starting at 9 p.m. You should tune in then.
It's a Phasmophobia, has some really cool mechanics, and Dave, I think we'll mention a little bit what I'm doing on Citadel, but
Absolutely.
I do want to hear some more about that. You told me some interesting stuff. I don't know what you want to say on the air, but it's kind of cool, and I hope some of that story we can share.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's following up on last week. You can't get Mario Kart Live Circuit. Big surprise. What else we got?
So, between now and next Tuesday, which is how we do these metrics, there is a game
That is our week.
that came out today that actually was gifted by one of the community here to me. The survival horror franchise Amnesia
Oh yeah.
is getting a third installment called Amnesia Rebirth.
Nice.
It is first person as usual, and it is not necessarily linked to the previous games.
Okay.
So
It's going to be similar atmosphere, maybe similar mechanics, but not a
Yes.
story sequel.
100
Okay.
years after the events of Dark Descent.
Ooh.
Um,
Oh, well, still in the same timeline. Take that, Final Fantasy.
It follows an archaeologist on an expedition to colonial Africa. After her plane crash lands in a desert in Algeria, she wakes up to discover all her companions have gone missing. She seeks the companions, discovers an ancient cave, haunted by darkness and supernatural creatures, and slowly discovers
Dave, I played this.
her
It was called
lost
Tomb Raider.
memories.
Oh, Lost Memories. Never mind.
See that?
So Tomb Raider plus Born Identity.
Yeah, minus the amount of times where the character like looks at the camera and goes, "Really?" There is, so that's like the big game that's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely.
There
and
are
niche is huge.
Couple other ones. By next Tuesday, you're gonna have some ports and some other announcements, which is gonna be fun. Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid saga continues. An
I'll push up
upcoming
my glasses and say, "Oh my!"
side-scroller beat-em-up
Oh
video
my.
game based upon the American web television series Cobra Kai.
Yep.
And in turn based on the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
It's side-scroller beat-em-up. Not much outside of that, and not much inside of that.
A little hard to mess up. Hopefully, we'll be good for scratching that itch for the increasingly fewer games that are side-scroller beat 'em ups that come out.
Yes. Ghost Runner, which I didn't really see much about, except that in the game's descriptions, first of all, it's published by 505. They use the Unreal Engine, they use the words, because those two matter at this point, it uses the word cyberpunk action game. So, it's not Cyberpunk 2077, but it's gonna try to get those people that don't know the difference to buy it.
I mean, Cyberpunk is a genre. Now, granted, Cyberpunk
Indeed.
2077 has been doing a good job of popularizing it recently, but it's a genre that's been around for a long time.
It has, however, for the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Switch, the last Cyberpunk game that I remember seeing in these stores and hearing about was one of the PS4 exclusives, where it was, but instead of it being futuristic, it was futuristic beasts and the whole tribal hunting and all that stuff.
Interesting. The last one that I played was Remember Me, which I did on the Citadel. That was definitely a Cyberpunk game. I'm trying to think of the last one that I know that came out. It's not a setting that is seen a ton in games. You can make an argument that Watch Dogs has some cyberpunk elements to it. It's not as far future cyberpunk, but I would say that the Watch Dog games are cyberpunk.
Yes. So, another game that if you ever enjoyed the Oddworld franchise,
Yeah.
you once again will be able to play Oddworld New and Tasty, following up for the next-gen systems, your Nintendo Switches, your PS4s, your Xbox Ones. Fun fact, it did have a release on the Wii U and all that other stuff, so, if you're a fan of Oddworld and you want to get into those games, grab that next Tuesday. And last but not least, I know this is going to get Amp Slayer's attention, and Amp Slayer is going to be very excited about this.
Hold on, I'll be our Amp Slayer stand-in. Dave, tell me.
The Legend of Heroes: Trials of Cold Steel.
Oh my
4.
god! I have no idea what that is, but I assume Amp Slayer does, so...
It is going to be coming to the PlayStation 4, and then in 2021 be coming to the Switch and to Windows, not to the Xbox. I know
Interesting.
Amp Slayer is going to be hyper shit about that game, and I am very excited for him because he has been waiting for Trials of Cold Steel 3 and then 4 to come out.
Nice.
That is all the games that were on my radar
Okay.
for the day. However, if you out there in chat have something you're hyped about,
Let us
definitely
know,
make
yeah.
your voice heard.
So many games come out, and we try to just pick a few highlights each week, but if you're excited about something coming out, please let us know. Shout out to BronyGamer95. How's it going out there? Yeah, our eclectic kind of set put together here. Another feature that we like to kind of hit is who's been banned by Twitch. And Dave, I have a ban that is not from the past 7 days. That is actually before our previous stream.
Yeah.
But it is one that I want to talk about. The person who was banned, or precisely given a 14-day suspension, is Alicia12287. On a recent stream of hers, she exposed a cat breeding mill, a pet mill.
Yeah.
These kind of places that are just really awful for the health of the pets.
Also, like the place in the Aviation Mall, yeah.
The kind of place where they will take like one breed, like puppy mills are often like, all right, cool, they'll take a breed of dog and just breed them and breed them and breed them. No worry about the care. People are like, oh my god, I was able to get Saint Bernard for real cheap, and it has really poor health and ends up dying or something like that.
Yeah, ends up dying less than its normal expectancy and has a very tough life at the expectancy that it makes.
Yeah. So she exposed specifically a cat breeding mill she talked about. And while it's one that had maybe been in the press before, because this place is currently facing a lawsuit from the United States Department of Agriculture, she talked about this on her stream, and then the company decided they didn't like that. She received a 14-day ban, and then this company, this pet mill, emailed her, gloating that they had had their attorney contact Twitch to, quote, shut her up. I don't know if the quote is Alicia's words or this company's words, but it was a very, like,
if they're
boastful-
lawyering around, it's likely her words.
Yes.
They probably used
But-
a $16 word for it, but
yes, to get her to cease her slanderous behavior or whatever. They claimed harassment, and Twitch, has a zero tolerance policy for harassment. But
Yes.
she was talking about things that go on at a company, and the company hides behind harassment. Her unbanned date is this upcoming Friday, the 23rd. Around noon Eastern, she's going to stream. She's going to raise money for animal shelters in her area. She's hoping to interview an ASPCA worker or a shelter worker, someone with experience with this kind of thing. Dave, anything to comment on this? You actually had a good kind of pithy comment on it when we kind of previewed the topic.
I'm not quite sure what you mean by pithy, but please.
It was more or less companies hiding behind companies, like corporate America hiding behind corporate America.
Yeah, that is
rather,
a lot of.
rather than confronting this person directly, they were like, Twitch, this person's being mean. This is against your TOS. And Twitch, rather than looking at the material presented and saying, no, they're presenting this in a journalistic sense
Yeah.
or anything like that, they were like, oh, yep, that's very mean of her, and we're going to give her a 14-day ban.
I mean,
Now, to be fair, Twitch never confirmed that that's why, because Twitch never does. This is just very much like, okay, A leads to B leads to C. This one isn't that hard to figure out.
it's a shame that corporate America hides behind other corporate America to take on the individuals that
And then
make up the corporate America.
These protections that exist in order to protect individuals are then being used by corporations to attack individuals.
Yep. And it's
like
it's a damn shame.
anti-harassment stuff is to keep Dr. Disrespect from calling out Alicia or something like that and sending a bunch of fans her way to... Now, he hasn't done that in this case. I think he's been on the edge with that before. I think...
He did it in his early days.
Yeah, not so much
suffered the
recently.
consequences.
So
and then
actually,
stopped.
I regret saying a specific name there. It would be someone weaponizing their fan base against another streamer or against an individual or something like that. That's what it's meant to prevent.
Yeah.
And that anti-harassment thing is being misused in this case. So, bad for Twitch for taking the stance that they did on that.
It's a shame that these protections are being used to affect individuals, and especially individuals that are attempting to use their platform to forward, although looking at it from a step back and thinking of it critically, their personal agenda. But when it's
They're trying to use their
general
power
health
for
and
good.
wellness of other beings on this planet, kind of hard to say like, well,
Yep, exactly.
So it's a shame that that's happening, but corporate America gonna corporate America.
Yep.
So
it's a shame that it's at noon. Otherwise, I would definitely tune in. I'm gonna be at work. I will have her watch the VOD and try to at least get her views on that.
I'm hoping that's successful. I'm also hoping that the typical response that happens when a streamer gets banned and then comes back is pointed. I'm glad to hear that this person is pointing it in a positive direction to raise
it's going
money,
to be a charity stream,
as opposed to as other streamers have, which is basically returning to leave a flaming bag on someone else's doorstep.
Yeah. So I'm impressed. I went through her Twitter and I was kind of impressed with how she was handling it and stuff like that. So excited for that.
Yes, that's good, and it's excellent that people are getting behind the ban and the return to let people know, hey, we're doing this. Hey, this is what's happening.
Yep.
Join in. It'll be awesome.
Yep. I did have one more thing. This is a last-minute topic that I added to my book that I
Hell
want to bring
yeah.
in. You mentioned games coming out in the next 7 days. I'm going to talk about books for a second. Of course, I started rereading Gideon the Ninth, and Harold the Ninth will be after that, my second time reading that. The third book in the Locked Tomb trilogy comes out 2022, so unfortunately I have some time to wait for that. But today, about 5 hours ago, the publisher, Tor.com, announced that they were signing the author, Tamsin Muir, for 5 more novels. Not in the same series. When the Locked Tomb trilogy is done, it's done. Instead, the first of the next novels, and I don't know if they're all going to be in a series or individual ones, the first of the next set of novels will be cyberpunk, as we've already mentioned as a genre. It will also be like Wild West cowboy gunslinger. It will still be very lesbian. And it looks like it's just she was talking about like, oh yeah, here's all this stuff and stuff that I would have liked as a trash lesbian growing up in the early 2000s that is a very uncatered to kind of thing. And this is what I would have liked, and I'm back on my bullshit, and let's go for it.
Okay.
Like, very much like, same with this, is that she was writing it for herself, but it turns out that there are so many people that are interested in that kind of thing. So the title of that, I'm sorry, I didn't even get the chance to really write this one down ahead of time, but the title of her next book that will be out and published by Tor is going to be, see how long I can vocally cover, Go Marching In, the first of a cyberpunk novella trilogy about a gunslinger pulled out of retirement. Oh, also it takes place underwater, so.
Interesting.
The best thing about sci-fi is when you take a whole bunch of things and throw them into a pot, stir it around a little, and see what comes out, and I'm really excited to see this, so. Okay, Dave, what do you got? I wanted to make sure that I got that one in there. Cool. I love her writing. I went back to this a couple days ago, and I'm like, okay, yes, this is a story I like, but also just her writing style, so I'm excited to see more stuff from her.
All right, so I've got some good news. I've got some bad news. Some finger wagging at AAA companies, and some unfortunate lots of folks losing jobs. But it's 2020, and we are kind of used to that at this point.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Let's have it, Dave. Let's go.
So this is a story that we unfortunately tabled a couple times. So
yep, make sure to get this.
Activision Blizzard, or more specifically the Blizzard part of it in the World of Warcraft offices in France were shut down on October 6th. There was a loss of, the union put the official amount, 285 jobs were cut. There were a substantial amount of transfers, and transfers were offered to employees. However, if you have a family and you live in the heart of a metropolitan city, a la France, you can't uproot and move to Italy.
Dave, is France a metropolitan city now?
And I mean, choose to split hairs as you like with my words, but, no, it doesn't change the fact that many people lost a lot of jobs and a lot of things happened.
Point taken. And that's something that you see whenever a development studio closes. They're like, oh, we're just going to shuffle jobs around. And it's like, yeah, some of these developers were in Montreal, and now they moved to San Diego, and then they moved to Vancouver, and then they were in Austin, and they get shut down again. And some people can live that itinerant lifestyle, but at some point along that family circus connect the dots, they want to settle down. And it sucks that studio closures keep kind of pushing people around like that. And I don't know what the development scene looks like out there. Hopefully, even if it's not under the Activision Blizzard umbrella, they're able to find a good job in that industry somewhere else, because places are rebounding. Hopefully, they're able to find someplace like that and get jobs.
They were citing for the layoffs is that they are moving away from their current platforms and need of upkeep of that the work that those offices were doing for Activision Blizzard, and so that the company is pointing in a different direction for it. That was their rationale for doing that, saying that they are moving to a more digital model for a lot of these things. Yeah. In response to those layoffs, a week later, the unions in France that represent the employees there called for a strike to occur, calling that employees should show up and express outrage and let the people know that they are not. It is not acceptable that 285 people are going to be on unemployment in a market currently wrought by and national pandemic.
Yeah, more like rigor mortis brings up like, oh yeah, we can transfer some of their jobs to Italy. Well, isn't Italy one of the hardest hit places? Like behind the United States, I think Italy and Spain are some
Italy
of the hardest
started
hit.
as the most hardest hit, and then America said, "Hold my beer and watch this."
Yeah, Italy and Spain, I think, are the two European ones that have kind of been hit the hardest by it. So I totally understand if, like, no, I don't want to go there. Thank you. And I like that. I'll say, like, unfortunately, there's a lot of anti-union stuff here, but I like that over there they're able to mobilize and say, hey, you other studios that still have employees from our union, make your voices heard about this. And I like that that power of labor is still in effect overseas.
So it looks like they were going for 3 tenants when they were protesting.
Okay.
Cancellation of the closure project, obviously to preserve those jobs.
Yeah.
Development of the activities in Europe. So, don't close it. Give us more work. We want the work. We'll do it.
Was the studio closed on the 6th, or was that when it was announced?
They had been getting told a little while that they were starting to downsize. The 6th was the announcement that these studios were closing.
Okay, so it wasn't the date that they were booted out the door, but it's...
A lot of people were on the 6th.
Oh,
That's when
wow,
they started to.
Okay.
And then the third one was to invest in efficient prevention of risk assessment and things like that to prevent future slow bleeds like that, to rationalize a shutdown from occurring inside of France and France's offices themselves.
I like that, because there's a lot of times when you see something in game development and you're like, okay, they're going to finish this game, but then they're going to wind down, they're not going to be given another game of the same scale, and they're going to lose jobs. And the video game development crunch industry very much lends to these boom and bust kind of patterns. And the idea of setting up some sort of body to watchdog that is really something that I hope is effective and can work to great effect elsewhere as well. But I'm proud of what... generally, whenever France has been in the news recently, I've been very proud of what they're doing. And this is just one more example. It is specifically the some of the World of Warcraft team under Activision Blizzard that was working in a French studio.
Yes, right after they released, a big old content and things.
Yeah,
like that
thing that we're talking, where they probably staffed up a bit to release some stuff, and then they're like, all right, cool, we did that. We don't have another one planned, so why don't you just let people go?
So as of the 15th, the Activision Blizzard was reached out to by a couple reporters, and the statement that they released to everyone was, management of Blizzard France met with the CSC employee representatives on the 13th of October. We were working closely with employee representatives to discuss their feedback as part of this confidential process, which basically says, we're not going to say anything in this press release, eat a dick. Yeah. It's not appropriate to share further details while our discussions are ongoing. But as always, the welfare of our employees... sorry. It's really hard to stick that much crap out of my throat. Remains our priority as we are focused on supporting our teams in this time.
And these uncertain times.
So it looks like they are not yet come to any sort of agreement, and it looks like the demonstrations will continue.
I mean, Activision Blizzard hasn't just outright said, no, too bad, fuck off.
Yeah, I'm glad that it seems like this is getting to their table, and it's getting to their table at a level where they have to actually listen and do something about it.
Which is, again, more than you'd get over here.
Yeah, because, we have so many good lobbyists that just cancel out everything, which...
Activision. Lobbyists, a.k.a. employer unions.
How funny that Auntie brings up a story that we do every 4 months. Activision, the best idea is always to not pay the devil. I mean, Bobby Kotick. Any more than those insane wages.
Yeah, whatever bonus he got could have kept those developers employed.
Which is funny, because 4 months ago on this program, we talked about how even Activision went, how much of this is going to him again? Hold on, wait a minute. He's getting bonuses for what? They're starting to even look at Bobby Kotick's contract specifically and go,
Yeah.
So, best of hopes to the employees of Activision Blizzard who are currently affected by this, and to the employees that are on the sidelines and could be affected one way or the other. We do hope for a peaceable resolution, and Bobby Kotick and Android Wilson are both sus, and they should be ejected into space.
Next, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk.
We will absolutely keep you abreast of those developments. Interesting that for 5 days, they have apparently been having conversation, but nothing has come of it. So I will keep an ear to the ground to that story, and I want to know more about it as it comes about. Boater, there's so many things.
Do you want to hear a really quick Elon Musk story?
Sure.
Last year there was there was a coup in Bolivia last year, and I'm not saying that's the really funny part, but more or less like there was like, hey, because of lithium and everything for batteries and EVs and stuff like that, it's like people ragging on Elon Musk for being happy about this coup that could be a lot better for his business interests. And specifically, he had tweeted in response to someone, "We'll coup whoever the hell we want." That got deleted eventually. This year, there was another round of elections that reinstated the previous government, and Twitter just gave a big old womp womp to Elon Musk, and it was kind of funny to watch.
That poor guy.
That pork, excuse me.
That poor guy just wants to be a Bond villain, and no one will let him.
Everything he does is Bond villain.
It is.
And
one day he's just going to turn around and go, by the way, we have now signed away 3/4 of the continental United States to me. And then just gates are going to get put up, and it's going to be hilarious because...
That's how we actually get cyberpunk. That is how cyberpunk happens. Watch everything happening with this guy and Jeff Bezos. Okay, Dave. Sorry.
There are a couple other stories.
Wanted to deliver a burn to a super capitalist. Continue.
But I am very excited, Boater, that we just talked about corporate evils.
Yep.
And corporate evils affecting the little guy and people getting screwed. But you know what? And by the way, welcome, Antiva. We now have sharks with lasers on their heads in space.
No, I want shakes with lasers. I want to go to Five Guys and get like a milkshake throwing a rave.
You know what? I would do with that. He's gonna make a laser moon base. Oh my god!
He absolutely is.
So, Boater, I know that you two are just as invested and upset as I am as to the unfairness and the inequality that happens every day on the iOS App Store. And it's so unfair that giant corporations can't also nickel and dime people to death on them. But fortunately, ladies and gentlemen.
Dave, did we end up getting a membership for the app for Coalition for App Fairness?
No, we're not even a part of it yet, but we want to be. We just don't have $70 a year. But if you want to donate $70 so we can join the Coalition for App Fairness.
For $70 a year, you can sponsor a wise-ass podcast.
But where was I? Ah, yes. But fortunately, some brave souls have stepped up to tell iOS, to tell Apple, that they're not happy, that they're not going to take it anymore, that they're going to sign up and join the heroes in the ranks of the Coalition for App Fairness. And I will now read off their company names as their names go down in history.
So these are other than the founding members that we went over a couple weeks ago. These are people who have signed on to the Coalition for App Fairness.
People that have paid the $69 registration fee.
Right, it's $69. Someone please sponsor us.
To join the Coalition for App Fairness.
Go to streamlabs.com/boaterbug, donate it, and I will get us
just right below, right here.
Yeah,
do it.
Or just buy some merch.
But these brave heroes whose companies' names will go down in history, homegrown names that are in everyone's wise, such as Bionics, Breathball, Challenge App by Euretiska, Cladwell, Dawn Dog Yoga, Gift Card Offer Wall, Greenheart Games, Imagine BC, Mobile Marketing Association, Passbase, Quobus, Quack Quack, Questo, Safari Forever, Shibstead, Snappy Mob, Spanish Dict, Psygic, Vertical Motion, and Yarc have all gladly joined the good fight to tell Apple that they should be able to nickel and dime the people on the App Store to death, not Apple.
The last one sounded like a radio-controlled pirate ship manufacturer. Yarc? I want it.
Now, Boater, after I Googled many of these companies, you know what some of them don't even have?
Apps.
Websites! For me to be able to Google
I've
who
heard
they
of
are.
None of those companies. I can make some educated guesses. Like Gift Card Wall is probably a company that puts up those end caps in grocery stores where you can get gift cards for Applebee's, Bass Pro Shops, and fucking Lowe's. Some of those, like the first one sounded like Bionicle, like Lego, like a division of Lego.
But fear ye not, for although those 20 brave souls joined, and some of them left quotes, by the way.
Oh, of course
quotes
they did.
upon their joining. This one's from Euristica, which was a
I'm
part
a what?
of Challenge
You watch
App.
your mouth.
Their story. We had to shut down our 7-year-old company, which was the number 4 social app in the US in July, because Apple decided to remove our app without clear explanation. We shared our full story in the link that I'm not going to bother to read because I happen to know that they violated the terms of service. Heroes! Apple, this one's from Passbase. Apple has repeatedly denied the submission of our app due to, quote, weird and inconsistent rules. We've been denied based on reasons that are applied to us, but to our competitors, we're allowed.
Yeah, because your competitors know how to follow rules.
Passbase, Godspeed to you and thank you for joining the Coalition for App Fairness. Spanish Dict. We have seen our app arbitrarily rejected for weeks with no recourse and no end in sight. The App Store policies have been applied inconsistently, and we've been forced to integrate Apple Sign-In against our wishes.
That was years ago.
Spanish Dick. You keep fucking them people. And Imagine BC, the cornerstone of that join-in. As an energetic upstart, we are confounded with numerous obstacles created by Apple, which stalled progress, impacted our bottom line, and quite simply created an immense amount of frustration. We hear you, and we feel you here. Imagine BC at the Nerd Glasses podcast.
I'm entertaining myself while you keep going, Dave.
But I know what you're thinking. 20! That's not nearly enough to join the ranks to take down such a behemoth such as Apple.
All
But-
is little piss ants with grievances.
But fear ye not, for a true hero has stepped out amongst the fray, has joined amongst the ranks in the Coalition for App Fairness, and received their own due press junket. Boda, the mighty media conglomerate, News Media, they are a part of the Next movement. They have many digital marketplaces such as Clart, Lendo, TV.nu, Bergens, Tiende, Blocket, Afterpoven, Finn, Brisjacht. No, I know what you're thinking. Those are all synonymous with the behemoth in new digital media. Shibstead. I know. Hold your applause. Until you hear what Shibstead has to say
God, Dave, I'm gonna cry.
for the Coalition of App Fairness.
Okay.
The Coalition for App Fairness is a very important initiative that addresses the issues we face in the app market. We've been actively raising an unfair practice by Apple and now want to join forces with other companies facing similar challenges, says the Director of Public Policy at Shibstead.
Fuck you capitalist money-grubbing fuckwits. You want to play in a playground, you follow the fucking rules.
Oh, listen to this one. This is how you know how deep the bitterness goes. By the way, once again, donate down below because we want to join the Coalition for App Fairness because I want to get those in-house emails from them. For over 100 years, Shibstead has been the leader in publishing, delivering high-end quality content for their readers, and we are thrilled to welcome them as members of the Coalition of App Fairness. Together, We will advocate for App Store policies that create a level playing field, hold Apple accountable, and give consumers freedom of choice. Which is hilarious, because if you've been digitally providing content for 100 years, you predate Apple! How were you not already on their...
If you've been digitally providing content for 100 years.
Well,
Dave.
they've said we've been around for 100 years.
Okay.
But you would
Thank
figure
you.
that if they've been around for 100 years, they can't still be making just print media to have absorbed.
To be fair, you can pivot. You can let go of older parts of your
Absolutely.
Like Netflix doesn't email DVDs. Netflix doesn't mail DVDs anymore. It's a part of their business model that they've let go, and it could be when Nintendo used to do like just cards or something, whatever they used to do, and now that's not what they're known for anymore. So okay, I get it, but also, shut up. It's just a bunch of big babies.
How dare you try to silence Shibisted? Probably mispronouncing the name because I don't really care.
Somebody please donate $69.
I dropped the link to the join in chat, by the way, if you also want to join the Coalition for App Fairness.
Because I want to sign up for this. I want to have some sort of obviously satirical big baby crocodile tears story under
oh my God.
Like some awful pseudonym.
Do you know why it's $69?
Why?
I couldn't get past the fact you had to pay last time we looked at this. General membership is $69 per year, or 30% less than the cost of being part of the Apple Developer Program. You know, that 30% that Epic wanted for their own pockets instead of Apple's. Oh, God. They really are going full ham on this one. I absolutely love this, and I look greatly forward to continuing to troll around that website. In fact, if I can, I'm going to try to tastefully edit a bunch of these clips together and send them to them and see if we can't get them to send us something nice. I want a gift basket from Shibisted, Boater. A Shibisted gift basket.
Let's just reach out to them with some sort of letterhead and ask for a statement and like some sort of swag box to talk about them on our podcast.
Absolutely. I'll draft something for next week and I'll read it on the program. So, I do have two more stories. However,
Okay.
I did want to give everyone or two more topics, excuse me, because
Okay.
they are stories at the base of them. But as you can see around us, there is actually physically less things behind us. It's not visually all that apparent.
You can't really see there. Dave, can I pick up the camera and kind of point to where the seating area once was?
Sure.
Sure. So, Dave, why don't you go ahead and narrate? But,
What used to be, as many people will know, on many weekend Wednesdays and behind the counters, the seating area has been moved to the new store, the new location. Dan, Tom, Johnny, and Mike have been absolutely fucking crushing it in getting that shit set up. Hats off to you all for your hard labor, and thank you to everyone who has helped Boater, and to the many people that have offered to help. We really appreciate it. Painting is now almost entirely finished.
I walked in today, and again, so there's the store half and the streaming half, and obviously working on the store half to be able to set up operations there first. Streaming will follow. I walk into the store half, and it's the black with the bright neon green, and I'm like, oh my god, it feels like home in here. It doesn't feel like we're inhabiting the corpse of another store. It feels like it's just about to be Insane Games. It was really cool.
For about 3 days, we knew how it felt to be Spirit of Halloween. But then we decided, let's actually not just freak people out. So the progress is going well. Absolutely keep it tuned into any Insane Games TV program, but especially if you want to hear more specifics about the updates and get word from the top end every single Monday at 5 p.m. on Behind the Counter. Dan and Mike have been taking breaks from working to come over to make sure that fantastic podcast continues. Make sure to tune in, ask them questions. Dan and Mike are happy to help try to make sense of what are we doing, where are you going, when are programs going to restart, is there going to be a gap, things like that.
Yeah.
Damn, Davey beat me to a Spirit of Halloween comment. Oh, trust me, you stand on a 12-foot ladder and change light bulbs, lamps, on light fixtures, and I thought to myself, this is truly what it feels like to be those people. I am so excited for the move.
I'm excited. I took a couple pictures of the side that we haven't touched yet, and said, yeah, it's still super pink, but you know, this is where we're gonna be for Citadel and Nerd Glasses on this side of the room, and here's what we're gonna have over, like standing sets, instead of like setting this up 5 minutes to showtime. And I'm just so excited. You know, I'm excited for, like, the store space itself is going to be larger than what we have here, and that's just what's going to be the store over there, letting alone anything of the streaming. There's so much cool stuff going on.
It is going to be fantastic. Make sure you cement your name in the legacy of the building of the new store by being a part of the programs, by subscribing, by following, and by continuing to support as all of you. And if you are new, please continue to join in with us then. So yes. Did you want
So Dave, Japanese theaters are starting to open up, with mask mandates and social distancing and everything like that. And with that and a couple other markets that are seeing that, a very strange thing happened. A movie opened and made $44 million on its opening weekend, and that means that it was the top movie in the global box office this past weekend. That movie was Demon Slayer the movie, Mugen Train. I might have mispronounced that last bit wrong. Demon Slayer the movie, an anime movie, was the top grossing film this past weekend. It's an interesting thing of like, oh yeah, this is what's made for this market, and this is the only market that's really reopening these things right now.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know, that's the story. I saw that, I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. You know, the manga originally came out I think 4 years ago, and yeah, it's now it's weird. Now that it's a story, I kind of want to see it. I'm not going to see it here. Unfortunately, the drive-in near here has been, well, fortunately they've been showing classic movies all summer.
Yeah.
I think this past weekend was the last one that they were open because of seasonal everything like that. But I don't know, like it's going to be some time until I'm comfortable going to a theater again. But that's also a difference between how things are managed overseas versus managed here. Yeah, it's interesting as bits and pieces of the world start to try to make that return to normalcy, these odd edge cases that creep in.
I know I'm going to the day that the movie theaters here and in Queensbury are allowed to reopen. As we said we were going to do with Sonic, but we actually went to it. I am going to just go in and buy a ticket to something. I'm not going to it, but to try to vote with the money to let people know, hey,
yeah,
you're open again, and I want to support that because...
Well, what I would do is that depending on when it opens, I may not be comfortable with, the idea of, let's release stuff to theaters. So I may not get a ticket and support that, but I will definitely go to the concession stand, get myself an overpriced tub of popcorn and a big-ass soda. And that's a way of supporting the theater itself without rewarding the studios for trying to push for reopening.
Although, studios themselves employ a lot of people and do have a lot of good work to be done. Fair. Speaking of which, Anti-Class Prime, come hell or high water, I need to see Dune. And if it were rent the
if I have to rent the entire theater.
That would be awesome.
If we can get 50 or fewer people on an Insane Games TV group buy, we'll rent a theater. See Dune. And Demon Dragon, I just want movie theater popcorn. I mean, I was thinking to myself, just like, when was the last time I just casually went to, like, a mid-tier chain restaurant of, you know, like, not fast food, but, like, Applebee's or something. Just today, I was craving Applebee's, and I'm like, it's going to be a long time until I go back to something like that.
Yeah, I just check to see if it has outdoor seating, and make sure you tip your server.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a personal thing, but I don't even want to do, like, outdoor seating. Takeout, maybe.
So...
Not the same.
If you find an intellectual property that you are a big fan of, and your fandom translates into your broadcasting or your podcast, your YouTube, your Twitch, your social medias and things like that, awesome. However, if you choose a rather large intellectual property to represent your works, and then you get an OnlyFans, expect legal recourse.
Ooh.
So, Poke Prince XSS is still a popular TikToker and Twitch streamer known for her Pokemon content.
Okay.
She then announced on, ironically enough, around October 6th, that she'd received mail. Very important mail. Very official letterhead. All the way from corporate of Nintendo.
Yeah.
That said, if you don't stop using our intellectual property and inappropriate content and videos now, then we will go to court and we will take your stuff away from you. And then it will be ours and we'll close it then.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing that they're doing. They are tacitly, though not outright, saying you can keep profiting off of our intellectual property as long as it remains family friendly. And that's as someone who kind of grew up in a fan content community, Star Wars fan films in my case, that's a that's a really fine distinction, and frankly a legally dangerous one for a company to make. But they are drawing a line still. They figure that they're not threatened by individual creators making fan art and whatever, but they are well within their legal rights to go after her for profiting off of that. And so while they maybe can't make the distinction in a legal sense of, oh, well, you can't use it for this versus you can use it for that, they're saying, hey, friendly conversation here, don't do that, otherwise we take all of it from you.
Yep. So, she has a lot of Pokemon memorabilia that she uses on all of her content.
Yep.
18 plus and otherwise. And she has over the years that she has been doing these accounts. So she announced that she is changing, announced to her 2 million followers on TikTok,
Yep.
as an example, that she was going to be changing her name from Poke Prince X to Digital Prince X.
Okay, good.
Which is fine, and then did get ahead of it by saying, I'm not stopping any of the content that I'd done. And Nintendo was even nice enough that even though she sells stuff that has licensed property on it, on her own, that they kind of went, just change the name of your stuff.
Okay. That's
and
cool. That's cool. And let me get ahead of any criticism here. I have absolutely no problem with people doing 18 plus, OnlyFans, whatever. It's just I totally see from a corporation's perspective of when they don't want their stuff associated with that. So like it's cool that it's like, yeah, you can keep using our stuff for your family friendly stuff, not for the they're not saying you can't do 18 plus stuff, but leave Pikachu out of it. And I think that, and it seems like she's taking that in a way that is like, yeah, that's fair.
That's the tone and tenor of all of her social media posts where,
yeah,
hey guys, I dodged an enormous legal bullet because she was not aware how liable she was by using those names and things like that.
I'm gonna say at some point she was aware, but after a while when you don't get the slap on the wrist, you keep pushing it and don't realize whatever. But still, yeah, absolutely that she's like, oh, right, I gotta step this back, and that's totally cool. She's not making a coalition for Pokemon fairness or bullshit like that. She's like, oh, I broke some rules, okay, how can I get back in line? Let's do this, let's work together.
The reason, and a quote from her, Nintendo doesn't want people to think that I am in any way, shape, or form affiliated with them, or that I have a partnership with Nintendo or the Pokemon Company or Pokemon Group, and it all comes back on me being an adult entertainer.
Yep.
Pokemon is a family-friendly company, and they don't want all that to come onto their reputation. Ha ha ha. Obviously,
Gross.
This really sucks from a business standpoint, but I have to understand and accept because I am a... And then she used some language that I will not repeat, but speaking about her own work and herself.
Okay.
So, corporate America, corporate entities once again swinging big dicks around, but not in the way that this story would want you to think.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, this is one where instead of aggressively swinging a dick around, it's more like, hey, like, defensively, hey.
Do that on someone else's IP.
I mean, fair, but more or less just not in my backyard with that. Sure, with other stuff that you do, but that game that you play, not in my backyard. And I think that's really, I give big kudos to Nintendo for how they handled that they sent the letter first instead of just suing her into oblivion. And I give kudos to how she's handling that. Well played, everyone in this story, frankly.
Auntie.
Not so much going after someone with a big dick swinging, but hey, you're kind of in range of this right here.
So, Boater, did you know that Steam is celebrating 65 years of Sega?
Wow.
60 years of Sega.
Okay.
I forget the number, but
Plenty years of Sega.
So they released a game on there that was actually a unfinished game in the Golden Axe franchise.
So this was one that, was it accidentally like, oops, we didn't mean to drop that? Or was this, hey, this work was put in, the game was axed, but in celebration, here you go?
Yeah, the game didn't get finished, but the quote on it was, "From the depths of Sega's archives, a glimpse of what could have been, just for the fans."
Okay, cool.
It was called Golden Axed. And
Get it? Because it didn't get completed, so it was...
One of the head programmers on it, indie dev by the name of Tim Dawson, tweeted out, woke up to the surprising news that Sega is releasing the Golden Axe prototype I coded in 2012 under crunch conditions.
Uh-oh.
At least I am not alone. This appears to be a surprise to everyone I know who actually worked on it.
Well, that took a turn. I can't say it was entirely unexpected. There's the other shoe dropping.
So, to read some of his direct quotes on this and why this is... wow, Golden Axe, it's been a while since I've heard that name. I'm going to drop his account, by the way, so you too can get it directly from the horse's mouth. Tim Dawson says, and I quote, about the Golden Axe game, "This project was my personal nexus of nightmare hours, inept management, industry realizations, and heroics achieved with a small team under unreasonable conditions. So it's an odd feeling to see it surface 8 years later without context, credits, and with a joke title sequence."
Oh, yeah, and he shows a side-by-side of what the original title looked like with Golden Axe, and then it comes up Golden Axe, and then they put the D on the Golden Axe. Ha!
A producer we trusted asked if we could make a polished gameplay prototype for an internal Golden Axe pitch in about 2 weeks to land a bigger project. We agreed because we were assured management wanted us to develop it our way, i.e., another Miracle Please, but did mandate a darker, broodier Golden Axe with a splatter and decapitations and keeping on the 2-button combat. So we tried to combine all these in the spirit of the original game. Golden Axe is an old and personally, I find it as a very fun game, but it is a beat-em-up.
Yeah.
It is a move around the map a la any arcade beat-em-up game.
And it had, like, it was one of those things with, like, 6 buttons kind of thing, right? It wasn't 2-button
Some of the
combat?
arcades did have 6, and then they did move on to the NES and the SNES, and they kept the 2-button and 4-button models. So, 2-week crunch time, but they're going to get this out from under the gun, and he's going to present his project. So, a week or so in, the lead campaign for branching the prototype and making a Streets of Rage pitch concurrently, because of him, it was going to be the same game. So it took me sending a 2 a.m. email to the studio head and a let's go for a coffee and chat next morning to get that stopped. Because if you're already a small studio and you're working on one project, nothing says let's double the work like let's double the work. But our biggest gut punch came a week and a half in. Combat was working and it was on track. I was called for a meeting in a big room, so I put the latest build on the network so they could see what was up. All of management was sitting around a big table. The big pitch, the time. I showed the game. Grave faces. There was a pause.
Where's the wow factor?
The lead designer once again complained that it wasn't a God of War like 3D brawler like he wanted. Someone said maybe it had been better if they'd have pre-rendered video where the barbarian fought a monster. So, to know that you get told in 2 weeks, have a functioning demo of something that we can then approve or disapprove, and a week and a half in, after crunch, after working on these things, to get told, well, I asked for a banana and you gave me a banana. What is this?
Either they couldn't see what was in front of them, or they wanted me to feel bad because it's the only way they knew how to manage. I was the guy who makes playable prototypes. I had over-delivered, and if they didn't want that, they had screwed up. I'd been working 14-hour days, but I went home on time that day.
Mm-hmm. And good for him for doing so. So, unfortunately, all of the people, by the way, if you weren't aware, that project did not get picked up. It didn't get approved. And in fact, it looks like it's off of Steam.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like reading through the rest of this right now, and it's nightmare stuff. Like, crunching in so much stuff in the next couple days, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, this is great." From the Steam page, Golden Axe might be janky, maybe buggy, maybe an artifact of its time, but it offers a unique glimpse into the prospect of a project that could have been.
Awful nice of you, Steam, to kick a game that got less than 2 weeks worth of dev. Although, when you put up about 1 billion games a day, it's a little bit hard to look into the window of it. However, I'm following the links and I'm not seeing it anywhere on Steam currently.
Huh. I wonder if it was pulled then.
It may have been. Ooh! When I searched it, Sega apologizes for calling Crunchborn Golden Axe game janky and buggy. Dredges up unpleasant memories for the devs and, you know, like a bunch of shitheads.
While you browse through that, Demon Dragon says that's the best way to demoralize a good employee. I don't even know if he's still working for them, you know, if that's the kind of thing that...
He is not.
Yeah. But, like, it's just shitting all over them. I know they changed the description, says Anti. It should still be up. But following the link... yeah, not apologizing for... good point, Anti, in that they aren't apologizing for having put them under those conditions in the first place. Just that... oops, what we did made people feel bad. Now, to be fair, it is apologizing for an action that they took. Not the original action, but in putting that up and the words that they used.
Yes.
It was a, I'm sorry I did this to you, not an, I'm sorry you feel this way. It was an apology, not an expression of condolences. So that's something. Yeah, I do not see it on Steam right now.
It looks like it has been officially taken down.
Good.
It also looks like someone pitched that they should be picked back up and remade, which is also probably why they got taken down. Better than a non-apology.
Yeah. It bothers me so much that in English we use the same word for apologies and condolences, because it's really easy for people to express half-hearted condolences when they think they're apologizing.
Indeed. And condolences to everyone who unfortunately missed out on another episode of the Nerd Glasses podcast. But if you hit that follow button down there below Boater, and you hit that heart, you can get notified every single time Insane Games TV goes live, and you can join in on all of the podcasts, the live events, the streams, the gaming, the talking heads. It's your stream, and it's your world to create in. Join us, won't you?
Over the next few weeks, we are growing, we're moving, so please join us as we take these next steps. I am so excited to keep moving forward and to bring you guys along with us.
So, Boater, what's going on the Citadel?
On the Citadel, I'm going to be playing Dragon Age 2. It was originally the plan last week, and then we had the oopsies with Spectrum. So we're going to do that because it's been over a month since we've returned to Kirkwall, so we're going to do that. Next week, we will be starting a brand new game, but I'll talk about that some more next week. And Dave, tell us a little bit about what you're doing tomorrow on Weekend Wednesday. I know we're going a couple minutes over, but however much you want to talk about that and how it relates to stuff around here.
So, in relation to one of my programs that I do here on Insane Games TV, and I'm very thankful for, is the Weekend Wednesday. It goes live at 9 p.m. every single Wednesday, even the Wednesday where it was Christmas. I was still there on Twitch. I am going to be gathering some of my community, and we're going to be challenging the occult. We're going to be joining in on the ghost hunting craze, and we're going to be playing, how's the pronunciation of the game?
Phasmophobia.
Yeah. We're going to be playing some Phasmophobia. I am very excited for that, and I will be bringing my usual brand of non-traditional play in regards to it. So definitely tune in and come to answer the question, are ghosts set off by ukulele? We'll find out. And make sure you tune in then to find out, will I be myrtleized for playing somewhere over the rainbow in a haunted house? And will Dave become haunted for playing such a game in a mall that bears such ill will to itself that it literally tries to blow itself up every day?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's play a game about going in a haunted house in a potentially haunted mall. After hours, in the dark. Dave, Godspeed. I hope you're here next week.
I saw y'all bought that. Darn, I'm so curious about that game. No, you will play. Vladdy will pay for it.
Vladdy sus. Vladdy sus. Eject him from the second floor of the house.
Exactly. I'll, you know what? I'll see if I can't drag Vladdy in to join in on it. But make sure to tune into that. I will be doing a couple other scary games on my own personal channel. But make sure to tune in for that and so much more on Insane Games TV. But make sure to keep a tab open right here, because when we go offline, we are going to be changing over the titles and then restarting the stream. In fact, if anyone wants to, sit there at the computer and count out loud to 60. Hit the refresh button. And if the Citadel Go Live is not there,
do it one more time.
I'll owe you a sincere apology next week on the Nerd Glasses. Throw a crucifix at Vladdy. I mean,
yikes.
If the audience wants, the audience will get. So, Dragon Age 2, more stories coming up. The store is expanding, and so much more here on Insane Games TV. Get your merch, get your follows, and as always, you're welcome.
Thanks, everybody. And from us here at Nerd Glasses, have a great night. I've been Boater.
I've been Dave Mann.
See ya.